This video is about graphing what are known as linear inequalities. So how do I graph a linear inequality? Well, the first thing you have to be able to do is graph a line. So the first thing I want to do, therefore, is write the inequality in slope-intercept form. Now remember, when you write it in slope-intercept form, be careful when you're trying to get that y by itself, because if you divide both sides by a negative, you got to flip that inequality, following our inequality rules. The second thing I want to do is determine what type of line to graph. Is the line going to be dashed, or is the line going to be solid? If it's a greater than or a less than, it's dashed. If it's greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, it's solid. Once I get that done, I'm going to graph that line. All right, so write it in slope-intercept form, decide whether it's a dashed or solid line, then graph the line. The second phase we now focus on, because it's an inequality, is I have to decide which side of the line to shade. All right, now I have two different methods. Method number one, I like to call y's are big or y's are little. This is my preferred method, and I explain it here in detail. All right, big implies that you're going to shade the side to include the top of the y-axis. All right, little implies, or less than, implies that you're going to shade the side of the line that includes the bottom of the y-axis. What most textbooks are going to recommend is to use this method called a test point method, where what you do is you identify a point on one side of the line, you then plug that point into the inequality, simplify, and if the resulting statement is true, you shade the side that includes that point. If the resulting statement is false, shade the side opposite side of the point that you chose. But after I graph the line and I decide how to shade it, the last thing I'm going to do is shade it. So let's look at a couple examples together. Example number one. Notice that this line is already written in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to jump in here, grab the y-intercept at -5. The slope says to go down 6 and 5 to the right. That's going to put me way off of my picture. So I got to remember, how else could I go? Instead of down and right, I could go up and left. And that's going to give me a point right there. So I've got enough information. I've got 2 points where now I could go and graph my line. The next thing I do is I look at the inequality, the less than. That less than tells me that my line will be dashed. So I sketch a dashed or dotted line through those 2 points. Now if you notice, we have like the top half or the bottom half. One of those is going to be where we shade. If I look and follow my rule, it says y's are little. Y's are less than means y's are little. I know the y's are littlest or smallest down in the bottom there, so I'm going to shade the side of the line that includes all those values that are less than. That's it. All right. The test point method, if you'd really like to learn that, let me know and I'll walk through a problem with you. Okay, so let's look at a second example here. What if I give you this problem that says 10x minus 3y is less than -15? Well, the first thing I want to do is rewrite this and solve for y so that I know what I'm looking at as far as a graph. Put it in slope-intercept form. I'm going to subtract 10x from both sides, which would leave me with -3y is less than -10x minus 15. I'm going to divide everything by -3, which gives me the inequality y is less than positive 10/3 x. Negative divided by negative is a positive. And plus 5. -15 divided by -3 is positive 5. This is the equation that I'm going to graph. I plot my y-intercept at 5. My slope says go up 10 and 3 to the right. I'm way off of the picture. So I'm going to go down 10 and 3 to the left. So I could either go up and right or down and left. Now, once again, the inequality is a less than, so I'm going to put a dashed line on here. So let me try to make this line as straight as I can. It's not perfect, but I've got a line. All right, so I know on the left side of this line, that's where my y's are big. On the right side of this line, that's where my y's are little. This inequality says y's are little. Oh, wait a minute. I just caught myself. I made a mistake. I forgot to flip the inequality sign. When we divided by a negative, that inequality was supposed to flip. Now, it doesn't change the line, but it changes which side I was going to shade. This says y's are big. Y's are big up here, so I'm going to shade this side of the line. All right? Let me know if you guys have any questions. This should take care of how to graph a linear inequality.